in the 60s at Haight-Ashbury, you would find the Grateful Dead. You would find Janis Joplin. You would find all kinds of people, especially all of the early 27 Club members.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Jerry Garcia was the lead singer, guitarist, and songwriter for the Grateful Dead. The Grateful Dead were a rock band who performed for over 30 years.
For those who don't know who the Grateful Dead are.
Yes. If you think of those tie-dyed gummy bears from the 60s, that's the Grateful Dead. His own genres of playing included rock and psychedelia, blues, folk, jazz, country, bluegrass. Jerry could do it all. But also being a product of his time. And again, Haight-Ashbury. So he had many health and addiction issues. Of course, if you're around Haight-Ashbury, you're definitely going to... Pot will be involved. But also, I know he did a lot of LSD in the 60s.
Yes.
And then there were pills later on in the 70s. So you had uppers and downers and quaaludes and this and that and the other. So... but over the years, he had many health and addiction issues. He had drug issues, along with he was a diabetic, which was not helping anything. Sleep apnea, and he was a heavy smoker.
Yes.
So
that led to a lot of issues.
Yeah. So after you can only push the human body so hard for so long, and after suffering a decline in his health, he relapsed on his drug use and checked himself into the Betty Ford Clinic. And he spent about 2 weeks there, and then he left to the Serenity Knolls Treatment Center, where he ended up
for the rest of his life.
Yes. And he died in his room there at Serenity Knolls on August 9th, 1995.
Yes. So I'm going to freely admit that I haven't heard too much of the Grateful Dead's material.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just he was a huge, huge star.
Well, and he's also the Grateful Dead. You know it if you heard them, but they're a big influence too on a lot of things, especially a lot of 90s bands.
Yes.
They're huge. Fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fish would not exist without Jerry Garcia. But of course, he's a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer.
Yep.
As well as being in the Songwriting Hall of Fame. People hold events all around the world every year celebrating him and the other dead. He is also one of the few, not the only, but one of the few rock stars to have his own Ben and Jerry's flavor. Jerry Garcia is so good. Yes. It's like those Queen Anne's cherries that you get at Christmas, but in ice cream form.
Now, let me ask a question. Do you think it's insensitive to put a diabetic on an ice cream?
You get it sugar free.
Okay.
They sell it sugar free. They sell it non-dairy too.
Okay.
So,
and not just he was a good songwriter and a good lead singer. He was a hell of a guitar player.
Oh God, yes. Yeah, he's his guitar playing has influenced
a lot of people.